Okay, hello and good morning everyone. Welcome to JFD Brokers Traders Espresso with me, Darius Anucauskas. Today's the 25th of January 2019, so welcome everyone. Welcome to this Friday's morning session where we're gonna have a look at the markets, few charts, the usual stuff, guys. But before we do that, let's quickly have a read through our risk disclaimer. The content we produce does not constitute investment advice or investment recommendation, should not be considered as such, and does not in any way constitute an invitation to acquire any financial instrument or product. As always, a few seconds for you to read the rest, and we can continue. Okay, so now then, guys, let's quickly jump into the charts. Now, the first one I want to touch on here is the CAC 40, which is the French index. And of course, looking at this still, to be honest, this chart here, this index, from most of the other European ones, it kind of looks the cleanest, let's put it that way. So in a way, if we're going to put a daily chart on this one, you can see that overall, yes, it is climbing higher. It was, since it's a reversal here in the end of December, the index continues to climb higher, but still kind of trades below this key area of resistance near the 4,895 zone. So something like that, we're just going to keep a close eye on it. But if this gets broken, if this finally gets broken, then yep, we could see further acceleration here to the upside, where we could then test the 4,942 level, approximately there. You can, or you can in a way round it up towards the just a 4,940, just to kind of have a nice, good, beautiful round number. So in a way, keep your eyes on that one. And like I said, looking at this daily chart, guys, it seems that yes, there is still some potential to the upside. The only thing is that in order to kind of consider that upside, we would need to see a nice good pop above this area right here, the one that's highlighted, and only then we will target much higher levels. And this area here is around the 4,895 level, something like that. So keep your eyes on that one. Let's see how this plays out. On the downside, as you probably understood, well, we would need to see this one dropping back below this, or should I say, we wouldn't say back below, but in actually dropping below this upside support line here. And if we look at the 4-hour chart on this one, so you can see that we do have this tentative upside support line here running from the lows of the 27th of December. So this is where we're going to keep on monitoring. A drop below this upside support line could send the index a little bit lower. The only thing is that from the short-term perspective, certainly, yep, we could see a move further down, but from the near-term perspective, one should kind of remain cautious, because we do have this key important area of support here, potential support, which also acted as a nice area of resistance here back in the end of December, last trading day of December. So in a way, this is quite an important one, which is near the 4,735 levels. So for basically for those who are more kind of long-term traders, so prefer to kind of keep your position for longer, then, well, like I said, probably could consider this break here, which could potentially open the path towards much lower levels here. But for now, of course, from the very short-term perspective, guys, I mean, certainly a nice good break below this upside support line could potentially lead towards a decline here towards this 4,735 level. But to be honest, again, as long as we remain above this upside support line, still we're going to remain somewhat more towards the bullish side rather than the bearish. But again, we need to see this nice confirmation break above this level right here around the 4,895 level. So keep your eyes on that one, guys. Jumping into platinum now. For platinum, let me just get back into daily and just to show you what's happening here. Basically, I was talking about this one previously, and I was telling you guys to keep a close eye on this one, as you can see that it continues to trade above this medium-term upside support line here, taken from the lows of August last year. So we almost managed to reach that area here, or actually, if we actually look at this is the daily chart, of course, because on the 4-hour chart we can see a clear touch here. So that's why probably it's better to have a look at the 4-hour, and you can see that it had a nice rebound from this upside support line. It pushed higher, and I was telling you guys to keep a close eye on the psychological 800 level. So we managed to break that, and currently you can see that the commodity is trading already slightly above this little short-term tentative downside resistance line taken from the highs of the 10th of January. So of course, if this continues to push further up here, and if we get a nice clear move here above the 200 EMA here, shown as the black line on the 4-hour chart, then yep, this is the level that we're going to be targeting, and that's the 815 marked near the highs of the 18th of January. So a very good potential area of resistance here. Certainly we will keep a close eye on it, because if this continues to hold, if the 815 level continues to hold, we might see maybe a bit of a retracement back down here, and then a push higher if it fails to kind of drop here below the 800 level again. So long story short, guys, for now, certainly this is looking more bullish than bearish. In a way, we could wait for a bit of more confirmation if we see a nice good pop above this 200 EMA again, and then we will target higher levels for now. But for the downside, if this suddenly drops back down below this little short-term downside resistance line, then well, we could see maybe a drop back down, a further drop back down here towards the a retest again of this upside medium-term upside support line. But for now guys, this is where it is right now. Let's see how this plays out, and keep an eye on the price action. Jumping into euro dollar now. Euro dollar had a crazy day yesterday, and as you probably know, we did have the ECB press conference, and you can see now finally we broke this upside support line, this short-term upside support line that has been running here from the lows of November last year. So in a way, of course, now we're looking more towards the downside rather than the upside. We can see that we also broke this key important area of support near the 113.10, but at the moment today, already this morning during the Asian morning here, you can see that the pair traveled back up here and kind of tested the pivot. So in a way, this is where we're going to keep a close eye on. If this, of course, continues to trading below this pivot here, then certainly we could see maybe a bit of a slide back down. But the only thing is that for a better confirmation, probably from the very short-term perspective, keep an eye on this 113.10 level. If we do get a drop here lower, then we could in a way end up moving towards the lows of yesterday, which were around the 112.90. So it's maybe just a few pips lower, but around that level. So this is basically a drop below the 113.10 could lead towards the 112.90, and this is where it could become a little bit more exciting to watch, because a nice good drop below this could send the pair much lower towards the next potential area of support here that we've got near the 112.70, which was marked here by the lows of the 14th of December last year. So that's of course for in terms of the downside. And actually, let me just put the arrow here for our future reference, so that we would have something to kind of come back to later on. And that's basically for the downside. For the upside, well, as you probably already guessed, we need to see a nice good strong move back above this upside support line here, and then we will potentially see of course we will see this one traveling back up, and basically if this week is going to close above this, then yep, I mean, it will have a nice weekly candle here, the body of the weekly candle closing above this upside support line, which could be seen as a nice positive in the near term for this pair, because we could see maybe this one traveling back up here towards the 114 level again. But for now, guys, we're gonna just watch where it is right now, and just can take it from here. For now, this is still looking more bearish than bullish, but again, because we're very close to this upside support line, keep on monitoring it. Let's see how this plays out, and it will be very exciting to watch how the weekly candle is going to close today. So So guys, let's jump into GBPUSD, and now looking at this one here, certainly this is performing way better than the euro dollar. So you can see this nice push that we had here towards the R2, or should I say, yeah, well, the R2, which was around the 130, 140 level. It found its resistance here, and now it's currently retracing back towards the R1. And of course, for now, just judging from the picture we're seeing here right now, from the very short-term perspective, in a way, you can see that we're still trading above this, in a way, tentative upside support line here, taken from the lows of the 2nd of January. And in a way, for now guys, we're going to continue monitoring this one, and we're continue watching some of the key areas of support, even though yes, we are still kind of positive in the near term here. But from the very short term perspective, to be honest, it could retrace a little bit lower here, especially if it drops back below the R1 here. And this is where we will then target of course the 130.75, or even actually these previous levels that we were keeping a close eye on. To be honest, this 130.30 that I was talking about previously, it played its role, but now it probably can get rid of it. So in a way, where we're going to keep on monitoring here, if this suddenly drops below the 130.75, we're going to keep a close eye on the psychological 130 level. And of course, if that doesn't hold, well, further declines are possible as well. But again, the downside could get limited to the this upside support line here, taken from the 2nd of January that I was telling you. So guys, for now guys, keep an eye on it. Certainly there is some potential for this to move higher, especially if this continues to hold above the 130.75. So the next potential higher level higher here is the 131.75 here. So, and just going to show you what that level was here back in the past. It was the high, it was the peak of the November of last year. So keep an eye on that one. Certainly another good potential area of resistance, but currently you can see that the pair is slightly retracing back down. In a way, for today, probably what we're going to keep on monitoring is if we do get a nice pop above this R2, which is around the 131.40 level, then yep, we could start targeting the 131.75. But if this decides to drop below the R1, which is around the 131 zone, well, this is where we will target these slightly lower. So basically that's the idea for today here. A drop below the R1 could potentially send this one lower towards the 130.75, or even actually going back to the pivot here. But then again, if it travels all the way to the pivot here, it's going to get below this 130.75 level, and this is when we could potentially start targeting much lower levels. So be very careful with this one. It's a tricky one, but at the same time very interesting. And the last pair I wanted to quickly touch on, and that's EURGBP. Now certainly, of course, you probably understand that if the euro is quite more on the weaker side, and the pound is on the stronger side, then yep, that's the result that we're having here. We're having a drop here, a sharp drop in the EURGBP, or should I say maybe a strong slide lower. But you can see that the pair found its support near the 0.8620, maybe it's just slightly a few pips lower, but nevertheless now it's seeing a bit of nice retracement back down. Of course, it's certainly trying to get back. The bulls are trying to get back into the game, but given the fact that this pair is already quite oversold, we might see some maybe more correction here to the upside, maybe even actually reaching this pivot here, which is near the 0.8675 area, maybe just slightly above that. But keep your eyes on that one. The only thing is that also what you need to bear in mind is that this little downside resistance line here, and that has been taken from the highs of the 11th of January. So this short-term downside resistance line, as long as it remains intact, we will continue targeting much lower levels, especially in the near term. But if this line gets broken, and this is where it could become more interesting for the bulls, as this may open the path towards much higher levels. Okay guys, so for now, I hope you found it useful, and thank you very much for joining in and listening in. And if you want to join me later on at Traders Tea Time, yep, that's 14:15 GMT time, where we're gonna have a look at the other charts and see how everything's performing. But for now, I hope you have a wonderful trading day, guys. Thank you very much, and bye bye.